Alright, it's time for the solutions for the solving systems with three equations using elimination, but we're not going to use elimination. We're going to use matrices. Because, well, it makes it a lot easier. And we've been working with matrices, and it'll help us out a lot. So on each of these, you have some system of three variables and three equations. And what you need to do is you need to transform that into a matrix. And the way to do that is you get rid of all the variables. Get rid of all the equals and all the pluses. And then you just write down all the coefficients. So here, if there's no number in front of a variable, the number is 1. And then we had the -5, we had -5, so that's where those come from. And then the 2 on the end, because it's that. And then we have 4, -5, 4, and 19. That's our next row there. And then if there's no number in front, the number is 1. We had 5, and if there's no number, it's 1. And so that gives us our last row here. And then you write out your matrix, you put it in your calculator, and then you go into the, get out of it, and then go into your calculator and go to the matrix menu under math and find RREF. And it looks like this. And then you just put in the matrix name, probably A. And then when you push enter, you'll spit out this matrix here. And once you have that, each row tells you one of the variables. Remember how this matrix comes from the system. The first number is what goes with the x, and the next number is what's with the y, etc., etc. Well, this number goes with the x, 0 with y, 0 with z. Well, if you have 0y and 0z, there's no x, there's no y or z. You just have x, and then over here is -2. So that gives you x equals -2. And the next one, no x or z, but there is a y. And on the right side you have -3, so y equals -3. And then on the last one, no x or y, but you have z. And on the right side is 3, and so you have z equals 3. And you have it solved. And so that's what you need to do on all of these matrices. So on the next one, your matrix that you should put in should look like this one. And when you do RREF, you'll get this guy here. And that first row says x is -4. The next row says y is 0. It's okay, that variable can be 0. It's alright. And the last one you have z equals -2. And that's your answer. Moving on to the next one. This is the matrix you should put in. And then when you do RREF, you'll get this guy out, which means x is -1, y is -4, and then z is -4. On the next one, this is the matrix you should punch in, and then this is the matrix you'll get out when you do your RREF function on it. And you'll get x equals 4, y equals 2, and z equals 0. That's a 0. And on the next one, you'll plug in this matrix into your calculator, do RREF to get this one out, which means x is 1, y is 3, and z is 1. Moving on to 6, you need to take this matrix and plug it into your calculator, do RREF of that matrix, you'll get this one here. This one's a little weird because we have 2 zeros, but just write it down. X is 0, y is 0, and z is -3. And there's your answers for that one. Moving on to 7, this is the matrix you should put in. Notice here on the second row, there's no z part here, it just goes x plus y and then straight to the number. There is a coefficient, it's something you need to put in for z. If there's no z, or any other variable, you just put a 0 in that spot, and then you can finish out your matrix that way. And when you do that, and you do your RREF, you'll get this matrix down here, where x is -5, y is -5, and z is 3. And then on your last one, you'll punch in this matrix, and then when you do your RREF, you'll get a matrix looking something like this. Basically what happens is this matrix, you actually can't get a single solution out of it. In particular, this last row, notice how these are all zeros. If this number here was 0, then you'd have infinitely many solutions. If this number is not 0, like 6 or 12 or -5, you would have no solution. So look at your matrix there. You'll either have no solution, or you'll have infinitely many solutions. And it's all based on what this number is in comparison to the rest. And that's it for today's video.